left.
The liberation of mutant kind has begun.
Welcome to the future.
Who's this clown?
Not clown, Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark.
Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto. My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poison, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You unlock this door with the...
Well, I didn't even it just went straight to it. It didn't even didn't do the animation or nothing. Let's see, let's go back to this. Let's see. There we go. That was weird. It was just cut right to it. Anyway,
no business.
What up, YouTube? Welcome to episode 192 of Two Fat Guys Pull Us. That's right. Hopefully the stream is working well. I haven't been given any notices. Fingers crossed. We'll just have to wait and see. But the past couple weeks, I've been struggling with the stream. But let's get into some business first. We'll talk about our show sponsor, our giveaway, and then we'll do a little bit of house cleaning, some potential scheduling things, and then we'll get on to the show. So first off, we got to talk about our show sponsor, which is Collected Comics and Games here in the DFW area. That's right. That logo right up there in the upper left-hand corner is the shop where me and Nate get our books, where we get all our nerdy things from back issues, collected editions, omnibus, hardcovers, trading cards, D&D stuff, dice, models, toys, cookbooks. Yeah, it's already saying we're getting drop frames. Great. Anyway, yeah. Oh, plushies. Yeah, that is what we do. That is what we collected is where we get all that fun stuff. So if you're ever in the DFW area, make sure to hit up Collected Comics and Games. It would be much appreciated, as that's where we get our stuff, and we'd love for you to go check them out. It's a great little shop. They have two, one in Fort Worth and one in Keller.
Well, yes. It's Haltom City now.
Haltom City, sure.
Sure,
that's where you can get your stuff. So go ahead and check that out. Also, we're on the road to 1,250 subscribers. That's right. We are giving away a slab when we hit 1,250. I believe we're at 1,095. So we're getting there, guys. We're inching closer. And when we hit that milestone, we'll be giving away this badass slab, the Uncanny X-Men issue number 1 from 2019, 9.8 CGC grade, signed by Jim Chung, the cover artist. So if you're not already subbed, make sure to hit that sub button, ring that bell, and give us a like. We're also giving away a Thor number 1, the Donny Cates run, a Nick Klein sketch variant, 9.8 CGC grade, signed by the great one, Donny Cates. So please, yeah, we're giving it away. Make sure that you're subbed so we can give that away to you, or at least you're in the drawing for it. As for show notes, or as for some house cleaning, there will be no live show this weekend, but there will be a pre-recorded show reviewing those books for next week. I think we only have 5 books total, so it should be fairly easy to record. So there will be a there won't be a live episode, but there will be a pre-recorded episode that drops on Sunday, this coming Sunday. So not live, it'll premiere on Sunday, probably at 8 o'clock as usual. And you guys will get to enjoy that. Also, just want to give you guys a heads up. I don't know if you've noticed, but we have a new show that is going to be debuting on the channel. It is I've been talking about it for a while. I've been saying I've been wanting to do it, been kind of dragging my feet, but we are going to officially launch, hopefully this week, if not next week. I have my first interview set up for tomorrow. Just depending on how quickly it edits, but we have our first ever episode, our first drop of our new show Secret Origin. That's right. We're dropping a new show. I can go ahead and pause the music here, and I can show you guys, if you haven't already seen it, the trailer that I made for it. Oh, this is not the trailer. This is the show intro. So you'll see this before the show drops. So check this out.
Origins of superpowers are always very interesting.
There's more to them than meets the eye.
We're opening the magnetic field.
Your real training begins now. Ready?
It's going to be cool, guys. So that is going to be the official show that launches either mid next week, if not the following week, once I get the edit in. But I do have our first interview, which is going to be with Blaine at Comic Club Podcast. He has his own show, and he's going to be jumping on over, and we're going to talk to him and just hang out, chill, and talk about comics. And then, I'm going to get some other interviews lined up. I might have one or two more potentially good to go. So we'll just have to wait and see who jumps on. I got to send out some more emails, but should be a fun time. So be on the lookout for the premiere episode of Secret Origins. It's going to be sweet. All right. Want to talk about this week's comics?
Yeah. I think that's
sure. Okay, let's go ahead and kick off the show with the
the Sacred Damned.
Sacred Damned.
Okay,
Horizon
so
Experiments.
I'm just going to go ahead and give you the quick spiel on this. I totally missed it. And as I was looking through comics, I saw Walsh on there. I was like, wait, Michael Walsh? And I looked at it and I was like, well, it's Michael Walsh. Got it. I'm not passing up a Walsh book.
Right.
And so you might be familiar with Pornsak Pinochet. I don't know how you say it, but he's done like The Good Asian and Infidel. He's kind of marked his place in like horror indie comics. He is essentially producing this 5-issue like maxi series called the Horizon Experiment. Each issue is a different creative team, and essentially what they are is tryouts for an ongoing series. So it's different creative teams who have committed fully that if the sales are do well enough, they will pick it up. Image will pick it up. They're just going to run with it and make it an actual series. Now, one of the motivating factors for Pinochet for this was taking some more familiar tropes, Indiana Jones, James Bond, John Constantine, werewolves, and turning them on their head and putting a marginalized group as the focus. So this issue in particular is a reversal take on Indiana Jones, but with a Muslim woman taking on jinns.
Okay.
So very cool twist. The writer of this particular issue, I can't remember his name, but it's the guy that did the 2 series with some more with Miss Marvel, with the actress that did the show.
Okay.
I can't remember his name. That's who writes it. And of course, Michael Walsh is on the art. And this was so good. Basically, you have like a traditional high school, like the big star, the homecoming guy, the quarterback, everything. He's got his whole life set out in front of him, and then he keeps waking up and he has no idea like where he is or why he's there, and he's eating. And he's like slowly starting to gain weight, and he's like, his friends are like, he's like, stay over with me and see if you can stop me from doing this or like whatever. And he like wakes up and like one day he's like eating an entire cake, and his friend is like literally shaking him. He's like, you won't stop eating. He's like, oh, what? And then they keep naming them incidents until finally he gets to incident 8, where he awakes in a forest and he's eating a deer raw, just full on, just raw meat, blood everywhere, ripping his head off. Like, and he literally in 6 months goes from 211 to 317 pounds. And there's literally a panel of like his tits just going lower and his belly like hanging down. It's like kind of like body horror. It's gross. Until he finally wakes up choking on a finger. He pulls it out of his mouth and he's eating his girlfriend in his sleep. And he gets put into a mental institution because his psychiatrist is he's not right, and this doctor, a professor of ethnography and the occult, comes in and is basically like, yo, you are possessed by a jinn. And he's like, I don't know what that is. And basically when he was a kid, he like did this deal with the jinn. He didn't realize what it was. He thought it was a dream. But it's just this really interesting way of her like drawing the jinn out. And I don't want to tell too much of the story, but like it's just really interesting. And as soon as I finished it's like the fact that there might not be an issue 2 to this is like haunting. Like I want to read this story.
Yeah.
So I literally am going to go back and get a second copy of a different cover just to like reinforce the sales, because that's literally what this is all about. It's like, if the sales are good, we're going to get it. And this creative team on a horror book is what I want, especially with this unique twist where we're getting ethnographers and occults and like Muslim tradition and heritage that's not just what we know, especially a stereotypical American understanding of Muslims.
Right.
Like it's cool to have that cultural dive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love this. I love this a lot. And I didn't realize this. I saw the second issue is written by Tananarive Due, who I've read 2 of her horror novels and they are fantastic. Did not realize she was doing an issue, so I will definitely.
Is this an anthology kind of thing?
Yeah. So each of the 5 issues are a different creative team. So it even lays it out. So I don't know each creative team. I don't know that they've all been announced yet, but they said that the results of their changing is there's going to be a Chinese James Bond, a Muslim John Constantine, a family of werewolves with East African descent, an Evil Dead for black nerds, and a reverse Indiana Jones.
All right.
Yeah, I'm very looking forward to this.
That's awesome, dude. Well, cool. I'm glad you were able to find it and we were able to get it on the show.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, let's keep moving on. Next up, we have The Moon is Following Us, issue number 2 from Daniel Warren Johnson. Yeah? Okay. Wow, we haven't done this in a very long time.
I know.
That's the gas. Pick it away.
Oh,
Joe had it right off.
So this was just fucking awesome, right? Issue 1 was really good, but man, issue 2 really I feel like solidified the entire concept. Obviously, we knew that something was aloof in issue 1, but we didn't have all the pieces, right? We didn't have all the pieces of the puzzle, which technically we don't even in issue 2. But we're getting more, and the more we get, the stronger this book gets. And issue 1 was my pick of the week. So the fact that issue 2 is my pick, it's not a surprise.
No,
this was so good. I think Daniel Warren Johnson's writing chops are just there, and even if it's not what's the word I'm looking for? Even if it's not on purpose, Daniel Warren Johnson's writing style is just metal as shit. Like, it's just so fucking metal, and it's badass. And I just love how we jumped from somewhat of a real life kind of scenario dealing with some kind of form of coma into this fantasy, right? But this fantasy is metal as hell. And when you see a wizard show up via a flock of owls that are stringing him along to a hospital's rooftop, what the fuck? That's so cool. And here's another thing, and we complain about this a lot, but this cover is a very massive representation of what's actually happening in this book, and I can't love that more.
Well, what's even crazier too is I actually picked up the B cover because it's Daniel Warren Johnson, and it fits just as well.
Right. Yeah. So it's just, I don't know. I love it. I think it's great. I think we're doing I think Daniel Warren Johnson's doing a great job getting a little bit more explanation of what's going on with the girl, with their daughter, and the parents just feeling somewhat helpless, but also not. We get the potential threat and what's up with that, what's going on with that, and a potential bad guy. I loved that. And then again, Riley Rossmo, bro, I don't understand how people could dog their artwork. Like,
No.
I mean, unless you're just that much of a DC purist, like, get over yourselves, right? Like, they're cooking.
Yeah, and I loved the play that we had in the where Daniel Johnson was doing the art on the like real world, and Rossimo was doing the art in the dream world. I just thought that was so perfect. And it just as an aside, it literally dawned on me seeing their artwork next to each other that if I don't see Riley Rossimo on Transformers, I'm gonna scream. Like, he has to go do Transformers too.
We'll see, man.
Because he
We'll
fits
see.
with the pack. He totally fits with the pack.
I totally agree.
Now, I don't think it's been a while, right, since I've been here regularly, but I don't think anyone is going to be shocked when I say that this issue literally and completely made me weep. I was furious for a second at Daniel Warren Johnson. I was like, you know what you're doing. You're purposefully poking a soft spot we have, especially fathers and daughters, and you are twisting the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
And like, I get that he's writing from the heart, especially with his own daughter, and like we saw with Do a Powerbomb, but like, heart wrenching when they panned to the room where like the princess is in the middle and like all of these creations are there of the things of her dreams. I was just like, oh my God, I could literally picture what toys would be in my own daughter's dreams, like there to protect her. It was intense, and for a comic to hit me that hard is crazy.
Yeah, this is awesome. This was a great book, and I'm, like most of Daniel Warren Johnson's works, like I'm gonna be picking up the collected. Like I'm gonna be picking up the collected version of it. It's so good. Grandma says, I just opened the stream, and this is the book I was literally reading right now. Nice. Also, before I get any further, John, thank you for the super chat. I completely like it popped up, but then we got sidetracked because of these awesome books. But John says my top 3 was Satan, Power Fantasy, and Avengers. Satan's art was amazing. Too bad it's over. Yeah, Power Fantasy, fucking rocking. We'll get to it in a minute. Luby says he just picked this up today.
We're gonna have to have some big disagreements on Rossimo being in the big 2 comics, because his Harley Quinn was amazing. Maybe he doesn't need to write that. Maybe he doesn't need to do the art main Batman title. But like, no, he has a solid place.
Especially, I think his art style is perfect for Harley Quinn. I thought he did fine.
Yeah. That don't matter.
Let's see. Joe says, I read this about 3 times and just looked at the background for a while. This comic is why I'm addicted. I like the moon is following us until the end. So I think I dropped Transformers then. If that happened.
You guys. Y'all are being as dramatic as I am.
The artwork isn't for IP characters. I couldn't tell what was Robin at all. But for independent characters, then yeah, it's good. I don't know. Daniel Johnson's Beta Ray Bill was excellent. Fuck yeah, it was. Oh my God. Like I need him to write another Beta Ray Bill book, like stat or a Thor book would be great too. But
I mean, I just kind of be selfish. I just want him on Beta. Oh, Silver Surfer. Oh my God.
Ooh, don't even stop it. All right. Next up, we got the Power Fantasy book number 3, or issue number 3. We get more character development. I can't remember the name of the character, this main character. Does it start with an L? Or no, it's a Z.
Which one?
The woman.
Oh,
it's kind of what the issue is kind of. It's kind of what the issue is focused on. Anyway, freaking great. Like
Victoria or something like that?
Maybe it's Victoria. I don't remember. But it was more of her story and her history with her, Valentina. There you go. I know there was a V in there. Just her dealing with being, right? And not being allowed to live her life. And I loved, I think the oh shit moment for me was when she was at the music festival in the 70s or 60s, and they fucking dropped an H-bomb on the entire thing just to kill her. And she just showed up in Nixon's office like, I'm trying to be nice. Fuck off. Like, I loved that so much.
She went in there with the total intention to sternly yell at them and not kill them. But because she was so fucking irradiated that they all died horrible, painful deaths a few months later.
Yeah.
Like it's so much worse than if she had just walked in and killed him.
Yeah, it was
Oh, that was so
so
funny.
good. This book was great, and I guess there's a difference between an issue being chatty and you're just kind of overwhelmed,
Mhm.
whereas this was like I wanted to know every single fucking detail of what Karen Gillan's dropping here. I loved it. I even loved the data page at the end where we're like,
Okay.
oh, we're literally getting previews of what's going to happen in these next issues.
Well, first of all, data pages can be so like hit or miss, but like
Right.
this is how you data page, because not only is it fill in some blanks for you, but it's literally gives you direct teasers. Like it literally tells you
Mhm.
which issue you're going to find out certain pieces of information.
Yeah.
I love that. Like next issue, we're going to find out about the Tokyo event and why we don't want to make that girl angry. I love that. I love it.
It was excellent. It was executed excellently. And I have no complaints. Like I just want to know more. And I truly believe that like Karen was like either clearly was writing this during his X-Men run, or he had a hangover with data pages and he's like, no, this is how you write a really good data page.
He's like, let me show you.
Yeah, stop telling me how to do it. This is how you do it.
Yeah.
So loved that. I thought that was great. Yeah, so it was a great book. Let's keep moving on. All right, next up we have Frankenstein issue number 3 from Michael Walsh. This was also a very excellent book. You know, again, I say it every time this book comes up. It's a classic take with a Michael Walsh twist.
Mhm.
You know, we get a little bit more of a raw insight to what I think Michael Walsh would have liked to seen in a Frankenstein story.
Mhm.
And I think that's the whole point, right? It's not going to like just blow you over. Like you're not going to be like I have yet to have an oh shit moment, like in a really drastic one. I think there are parts that I'm like, oh wow, like that way of describing the classic scene of Frankenstein I think is very clever and new, and I love that. Like especially with this issue dealing with the heart and like really dealing with the feelings of the bride of Frankenstein essentially. And how that's connected, how that body part is directly connected to the feelings of her. I think that's really smart. Obviously, that's what we've been doing for every issue. Like each body part has some sentimental value to somebody within the story. So yeah, I thought this is smart. It's a very smart book, but it's not my pick of the week.
It's not my pick of the week either. However, I would say that this is definitely like a
Yes, Joe.
4.5 out of 5 stars. Like, it's really good. And you're right. Like these issues haven't had necessarily like a boom, oh holy shit sort of moment.
Right.
But to me, I did kind of have a little bit of that moment, because at first I didn't really get the beginning where the guy sort of essentially is like, this is the last opportunity. He kind of like shoots his shot and he's like, you know, like I could love you the way you deserve, and she denies him. And then, you know, we have other things going on, but the payoff for that scene comes when it's literally their wedding, and you know, something comes in and her husband's gonna leave, and she literally grabs his hands and holds them to her heart and is like, please don't leave me. And he leaves. And then the Frankenstein monster comes in and she's terrified, and she thinks that he's gonna hurt her, and all he does is just grab her hand and puts it on his heart. And I just thought, man, that's like, I don't know, that's like, it's chilling. And I thought it was a cool way to kind of tie in Frankenstein's bride.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they were done. It was just done in a really cool way, and it's just a good. I like the classic take, right? And I think that's the best part about this, is it's just the classic take on the story with, you know, obviously Michael Walsh's art style and storytelling. But it does frustrate me because I'm like, man, I just wish we had Silver Coin back. Like, can we just get back to Silver Coin? Like, my dad's just finished the first book, the first volume.
First volume, yeah.
And we were talking about it, and I was like, I just want that back. Like, just want it back desperately.
Joe, this is not chatty at all. If anything, I would say that on a 1 to 10 scale, Tom King being the 10, I would say this is like a 5 or a 6, like a 4 or a 5.
I agree.
Like, it's really not chatty at all. There are multiple pages where there's one word bubble or something.
Yeah, I would agree.
Joe also asked, could Michael Walsh make you read a Carnage book? He wrote it. If he was doing the art, you bet your buns. You absolutely bet your buns. Carnage is horror centered anyway, and I'm so trained now when I see Michael Walsh, I can instantly think horror. Yep, absolutely, I'm buying that.
Yeah, I don't know. No, like I've had a real. I guess we're gonna kind of go off the rails here in a minute, but like I've had a real aversion with symbiotes lately.
Me too.
And I don't know if it's just because like Donny Cates is not involved and Ryan Stegman's not involved, and like it was just such a fun story. And I feel like I have that with a lot of Marvel and DC books right now. Like if they're not doing something new, I'm kind of out. And like right now, like I've been seeing all like the spoilers for Venom on the movie. And like how they're characterizing Null, because Null's in the movie, or he's teased, because like he's supposed to be like the big Thanos for the Sony, and like it just, I'm just like Venom's not a good movie. Like it's just not. Like
I've still never seen any of them.
They're not good. Like they're just not. Like, and then like I've been seeing reviews on 3, and like obviously if you're just going to have a silly goose time, they're fine, but like. And it's so silly to be like, I want a serious comic movie. Like, no, like there's a difference between Deadpool, Wolverine, and Venom Last Dance. Like they're just not the same. And so, like for me, symbiote comics, I'm just kind of out right now. Like I'm just not. It's just not hitting for me. And so, yeah, if Michael Walsh did the artwork, probably. But man, the writing would have to be solid, dude, because I just haven't been impressed with symbiote comics lately. Like I just haven't.
Yeah, I haven't been exposed too much to his writing, but his issues of were some of the best each time he wrote the issue, the 5th issue of each volume. And what he's doing in Frankenstein would definitely get me if he was writing and doing the art. If he was just writing, I don't know if there's enough there for that, but if he's doing the art too, there's definitely.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Void Rivals. This was an okay issue. It was fine. You know, it's a definite setup. Like, you know, we're getting new players on the board. Things are kind of progressing a little quicker than they have been in recent issues. So obviously we're getting like the G.I. Joe connection, which we've been wanting and kind of asking for 12 issues. So we finally got it kind of in this issue.
A little bit. Yeah.
And kind of, I think it also, I would assume, kind of time gates or time like puts us on a
John, don't you fucking dare.
It puts us on a like a time frame of where we are in the timeline, like literally, like are we in 2001 or are we back in like the 60s? Like it kind of puts us in that, in the sense that like the fact that the G.I. Joes are involved, or that the G.I. Joe universe is involved. Then
we just saw Cobra La, right?
Right.
Meaning G.I. Joe stuff.
Right. So I think the establishment of Cobra La kind of, again, I don't know like how old that dynasty is or what. I've always wanted to say that. Like I know it's dynasty, but I've always wanted to say dynasty.
Oh my god.
So I don't know. I'm unsure, but you know, the issue was fine. It was, you know, we were dealing with multiple things going on, multiple storylines going on, so it was very like choppy, which is fine. But it didn't really move me as much as I wanted it to, if that makes sense.
I had the opposite reaction.
Okay.
I mean, let me stop for a second and let me say I felt the way you said for 18 of the 21 pages. And then those last 3 or 4 pages, when the priestess or whatever literally like backhands him and is like, "You're an idiot, and everything you think is a lie, and we're gonna tell you the real truth," and it's all. I was like, "Yeah, see this.
Yeah,
this is what I wanted from Void Rivals. I want to know this backstory. Why these two similar people are like, we can't have the merger. We can't have it. What is going on?" That is the stuff that I love. That's
Yeah.
what's mostly tied me to Void Rivals. And so when I got that, I was like, finally some crumbs I can eat.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm sure we're not going to address this for another few issues, but
right.
ultimately that's what I want from this book.
No, I get that. No, I completely. I mean, I read this like the first thing I read, so I'm forgetting something, but I just wasn't. It didn't move me as much as I wanted it to. So,
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. Oh god. So let's move over to DC, and we're gonna kick off with Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 1.
That's the gas. Pick of the
Yeah.
week.
So the Daniel Warren Johnson book's the real pick of the week, but we're going to tell you all our other picks of the week. But it's the real pick of the week.
Okay, before we get into this, I'm just gonna tell you now. I kind of teased this when we had our pre-show notes.
Mhm.
I think I'm done with DC proper.
Okay.
I'm done with DC
Interesting.
proper. What up, Jaden? And I'm just doing Absolute and any other like fun books that tickle my fancy. But I think Absolute for me right now, even though this is
Hey,
only
Jaden,
the second,
what's up?
this is the second book in the line, is doing it for me. And what's not doing it for me is the current mainstream line of DC Comics. And because there's too much to try to figure out what the fuck is going on, and it's already not my style. It's too goddamn corny. And so I think I'm out on the main DC books. Like, I'm not going to do the new Green Lantern. I know you are.
Green Arrow.
Green Arrow, sorry. Green Lantern, it's 50-50 shot for staying. I'm not reading Superman right now, which I know you want to talk about. Birds of Prey is a silly goose time. I'm probably going to stick with that. I'm out on Nightwing. We'll talk about it here. I'm not reading Action Comics. I'm not reading Detective Comics. I'm not reading.
Did you not read this issue this week?
No.
Oh, you've made a mistake. I'm just going to
It's
let
fine.
you know that
It's
now.
fine. No. I'm just saying, like, I'm just encapsulated by what we're doing over at Absolute because it's just such a fresh and different take on the characters, and it's got me excited. It reminds me of Donny Cates. It just reminds me of Daniel Warren Johnson.
God,
It reminds me of
complex.
shut up. It reminds me of all the writers that when we first started this channel, when we first started going to Collected and buying comics, because you were like, hey, have you read Star Wars comic books? And we're like, no, let's go. And then we fucking went over there, and they were like, what's this fucking Thor? Like, you know, the absolute line right now that is currently out has got me more excited and makes me feel like we did when we first started reading comics. Then it just feels, in my opinion, like a chore to read the current line outside of Absolute. It's just, we do like, look, I love Chip Zdarsky. We're doing new things in Batman. It's about to end. And we're, even though we're all in, no, we're going to, and I know we're not talking about Wonder Woman right now. I promise we'll get back to this. I know we're all in, but you know what we're going to do? We're going to make a sequel to Hush. Excuse me. The fuck is Hush? I haven't read it. Read it.
Well, that now you don't say that because that's embarrassing. But
I understand. I know it's embarrassing to say that, but I'm just saying. What I'm trying to say is, don't make me do homework so I can be all in. That's bullshit. That's not all in. I'm just saying.
Okay. I don't know about all that, but I am with you on that. The Zdarsky run, I think it's time. I think it's time for that to end. I think we got till March. Like, it's time. And yeah, a Loeb, Jim Lee, Hush 2.0 for the next probably year and a half
out
is an easy drop, right? Like, it's an easy drop because you're right. With All In and with this fresh Absolute stuff, the last thing in the world I want is a sequel to what is arguably a very good Batman story. I just like, we're doing this this awesome Batman one that's fucking hitting people with that shit. Like,
right,
Alfred is his enemy. Like, nah, let's do that. Let's do that. I don't want to do.
I'm just
and it's called Hush 2.0, but this Hush is line. If we were really doing sequels, would be like Hush 5 right now.
Yeah, I remember vaguely that there was a Hush sequel. You know what I mean? All right, let's stop bashing on what we're pissed off at. Let's talk about what we like. Absolute Wonder Woman. Fucking loved it. Loved the artwork. Loved the retelling of the story. I love the Curse of the Gods. I like that Diana is an actual fucking Amazon. Like, she shows up on Earth and everyone's shoulder length, like shoulder or lower. Like, she's a big ass bitch. Like, she's got a fucking big ass sword and she's cutting down demons while riding a skeleton Pegasus. Like, that's what I'm saying. This metal is fucking shit. I've been cussing a lot in this show, but I'm just saying Absolute Wonder Woman, and I get it. It's some people's it's not their bread and butter. Like, they like the current continuity line and they want to read those classic stories, and that's perfectly fine. But I think DC's onto something here with this Absolute line. They got fucking jealous of Marvel doing their own goddamn thing with the Ultimates line, and they're like, we can do that too. My only concern, even though this has been amazing, what's up, Canadian, is that they are not going to let this. They're not going to let the stories that they're cooking up in the Absolute line really simmer and just fall apart in your mouth and just taste really good, like a good goddamn stew. They're gonna rush it. Like, I've got this feeling that they're gonna rush it, because what was the first thing they said when they announced Absolute?
What?
There is a guarantee 100% that the Absolute line will 100% merge and or interact with the current line.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the setup for that in the DC all-in issue special thing, right? Like, that was the whole point.
You're right, Joe.
Absolute Powers ended, and we're like, no, our tie to the multiverse is gone forever. And then literally the next issue for that, which is supposed to be the special, was like, and we're back.
We're back.
We were just kidding. We 1 week, and then and yeah, like, that was obviously set up for this world.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
Joe, you're absolutely right. Like, I am in a honeymoon phase. All these new books are coming out. We're getting an Absolute Green Lantern. We're getting an Absolute Flash. We're probably going to get an Absolute whatever and ever and ever. You know, like, it's just going to keep on going, and I'm here for it.
As long as they've been as good as these first two.
If they stay well, and here again is my concern. This issue was absolutely fantastic. There was one thing that drew my eye that has got me concerned, and it's the title page. Part 1 of 5.
Well, so it's like the first arc is 5 issues.
It better be that, and not. Oh, and now we've got a
like
new writer. And,
no.
Yeah. And then we got a new art team, and it's not Absolute Wonder Woman anymore. It's All-Star Wonder Woman coming in. Like, just fucking let it cook. It better be. God damn it, Nate.
It is. Yeah, it is. Also, like, I don't know. Some people might say this is me pandering. I really don't feel like this is honest, but take it how you will. But, like, I felt like I felt Diana's voice, her identity, and I don't think it's a coincidence that we have a female in this book. Like, I just...
we have a what? Sorry.
A female writer on this book.
Okay.
Like, obviously Thompson's great. Like, right? Love Kelly Thompson. But to me, this book honestly puts a lot of ice on Tom King's Wonder Woman. I have time for both, I think, so I'll probably still keep reading Tom King's. But
keep going. I'm gonna do something really quick. I gotta go run something, but keep going.
But this is what I want. This is what I've been wanting. This is what I was hoping. I mean, obviously not the absolute and like the totally different origin story, but like I was hoping for some innovation. And we're getting innovation from like villains. Like, we're literally just telling. Anyway, this is what I was really wanting, and I don't know. I think, like, clearly from what we've already talked about, I'm soft.
Try that.
The scene where Diana's like, there's this word, and like, I don't know what it is. I want to say what it is. And what was her mom's name? I don't remember.
Nope.
Yeah, no, it's some Greek goddess.
But she was like a wizard. Like, she was like a witch, right?
Yeah, but she's like, what is her name?
I'm finding it right now. You keep talking, because I'm sure it's in here.
Yeah.
Nope.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But
Cersei?
Cersei, yeah.
Cersei?
So like when Cersei and Diana are having that, man, there's just this word and like identity, and
Yeah.
like she's like, yeah, you got it. Like I can't do it. You can do it. And I felt that. That felt powerful. Felt,
Mhm.
I don't know. I felt Diana gaining her identity, and that was cool. That was really interesting.
That's interesting, Bar. I did not know that.
What?
They're saying that my understanding is DC was planning Absolute before Marvel decided to revive the Ultimates line.
I'm gonna need proof to believe that. Not questioning you. I'm just saying in general that because that sounds like. However, I don't care because they've both been good so far.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we're just starting with Absolute, but I also
Ultimates-
don't. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say Ultimate's been cooking, and
Oh my god!
right. So like, I don't think there's any reason. I just don't think there's any reason for DC not to have. I think it's. God damn it! I'm like I've got like 15 different thoughts in my mind. I think Joe, stop it. Anyway,
yeah, we don't want
Absolute Waller. I don't want that.
that. I
But
don't want to see
listen,
her for a long time.
what I think it is that we've had such mediocrity, and I know it's a hot take at DC, and such safe play since I think Death Metal. I think since Death Metal, DC has been playing it safe. DC has been saying, okay, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. Oh, we're gonna have another Infinite Crisis. We're gonna have a Crisis event again. Oh, yay! We're gonna go back to this. Shit, they're even doing it with Batman after Chip's done. We're going back to Hush. It's all safe. Bring back old readers. Remember back when. And then they've got this Absolute line of like, okay, go fucking wild, right? And then my worry is that the other side of the aisle is going to be like, all right, y'all are having fun over there. Can you bring that over here? And I think that's when it's going to start muddying the waters. Like I don't want to see Kelly Thompson's Wonder Woman have a fucking adventure with Tom King's Wonder Woman. I just don't. Like,
no, that doesn't sound good at all.
No, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Batman do that. I don't want to see, we're getting Superman not next week, but the week after. Like, I don't want to see that either. And I haven't even read that book. But like, to me, the Absolute stays there. And then maybe 3, 4, even 5 years from now, have a big event where, the main line gets completely just obliterated, and Absolute is the only thing that exists. Do it, please. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, but
that's not going to be the case.
We've already seen them. We've already seen a character inside this universe, though, right? Like this has to be the universe that Booster Gold drops into.
100%.
Yeah, like that's what this is. So like we've already seen the cross. Like, it's already here before Absolute even came out.
And so Buster Gold's going to fuck everything up. He's going to destroy it.
I don't know about all that, but
anyway,
he's
got to get back somehow.
We put a lot of negative Nancy stuff into a book with a wonderful review. That was great.
You're right.
So let's just leave the negative out of this.
You're right.
Book.
It was good.
Great.
I absolutely loved this book. I was reading it in my car, waiting in line to pick up my boys from school. I loved it. It's on my pull indefinitely. So, yay. All right, let's talk about the main line. Green Arrow, issue number 17, the last issue of Williamson's run. I think you said it best during the pre-note show or pre-show notes. This was the opportunity for Williamson to put a nice, perfect little corny bow on his run. It's okay, Green Arrow. You're okay. You can come back to the Justice League. Like, that's this issue in a nutshell. And to me, it was a wasted mechanic, right? Green Arrow turns on everyone. Oh, well, I did it to just make sure that Waller didn't, whatever. I had the Martian fucking wipe my brain so that, if anything happened, I could re-trigger it, but then his powers went away, so I left myself clues. To me, it just retcons everything that we did. You had an opportunity for Green Arrow to be on everybody's shit list and start in the Justice League run as somebody that they couldn't trust, and he had to earn their trust. And it ended with, come on back, buddy. It's all good. That's what this issue was. And to me, it was stupid.
I would imagine that was probably a Chris Condon was probably like, "Hey, will you fix that? Because that's not the story I'm going to tell over here." Like,
sure.
we can't have we can't have the Justice League fighting Green Arrow in the story.
Yeah,
That's
I guess.
probably what it was.
And that's fine. It just feels like, and it's a double-edged sword, right? Like, you're cursed if you don't, you're cursed if you do, in the sense that if you stick with that narrative, then support indie comics. Fuck yeah. If you stick with that, you're on mute. Am I?
Who's on mute?
Am I on mute?
Surely I haven't been on mute this entire time, and no one's told us. I'd be very sad.
Check. I see.
Check. Check.
No, I see desktop audio.
Okay.
Is this a
All
prank?
right. Somebody tell me.
Anyway, I just think if they were to stick with him being a villain, then you're right. They'd be running into that narrative of him fighting and this and that, right? But then at the same time, like, you're not taking any, like, you develop this storyline with the Absolute run, and they don't, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean anything in the next run. So, like, we were both trying to figure out why Green Arrow turned.
Yeah.
Right. And then it was kind of revealed, and we're both like, oh, that's it. Right. And then that's it solved so easily. It just didn't work for me. So I just wasn't impressed. And I know that you're going to jump into the next run.
The first half of this book was total boo-boo, right? Like, it's just
boo.
But the second part was our little tease into Chris Condon Montos's book. And those names are why I'm going to try out the first couple issues of their run. I think Condon's done a good job of setting himself up and showing himself formidable as a writer in indie comics. And then Montos, of course, did that John Stewart book that I really loved with Philip Kennedy Johnson. So that's a creative team that I can get behind. And this little tease was intriguing enough for me to say, okay, let's kind of figure that out.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be on a very short leash because I am with you. There's not a ton in all in that's kind of making me want to stay all in, but that one will be for at least.
I agree. Totally agree. Yeah. Empire comes in, women writers, Wonder Woman, women writes Wonder Woman, and women already like it better. Can't say I'm surprised.
No, that's why I said it. Yeah,
exactly. All right, let's keep going. All right, Green Lantern Dark, issue number 1, Elseworld story. This was freaking fun. I had a lot of fun with it. You know, I didn't quite know what to expect. I did have some outside forces kind of sway me when I first bought it. I was like, no, I'm gonna stay true to it. But I had a lot of fun with it. I think I think DC thrives when they let a concept that's new and refreshing flourish. And I think exactly, like, again, this isn't, I don't believe this is game changing, but this is a fun, fresh new story that I would like to read. You know, now granted, I'm not reading any of the other Elseworld stories because every single one of them has to deal with Batman, and I'm like, I'm good. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
But this was fun and refreshing. I really liked this concept of, like, an Elseworld story dealing with, you know, zombies. The end of the world. I loved it.
Yeah. I will go ahead and put it up front that one of the things that I loved about this book could be a genuine critique of it, and that is Green Lantern, but make it something is killing. Because we don't just have the influence of the team. You know, obviously Tate Brumball was doing House of Slaughter, and then we've got Werther Dell'Edera, who is the main artist on Something's Killing Children.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going to put their little influences in. But even the atmosphere and tone of this book was so Something is Killing the Children.
Right.
I love the fuck out of that because that's just something I enjoy. Plus, Green Lantern, I enjoy. Put those two things together, peanut butter and jelly, it's great. But if you think that's a little too easy, or maybe you know, just DC copying pasting a successful indie comic, I think that those are valid criticisms. But
Mhm.
if you are reading Something Is Killing the Children and you like it, you really, really, really should read this because it's got some of those same elements. Werther Dell'Edera has this uncanny ability to develop like these dour, like almost like darkness consuming environments and settings. It makes for a perfect tone. Like I felt like I was totally immersed in this world, and we barely have any background information of how this world got to be the way it was. Like we got the small bits, but not anything.
Right.
So
I agree. Yeah, I think overall it was a fun story, and I'm gonna keep going for it. Like it's not an immediate pull. Like it's not like, oh, this is like nothing could derail this book. But I'm going to pick up the next issue.
There's only 7 issues, so I've already pre-ordered
on.
all of them. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Tell me what you thought about Nightwing.
One thing that I try my hardest is to not be rude in my personal criticisms. So I don't want to elaborate anymore. My particular tastes of the art in this book are so off. Personally, will not continue.
Okay.
The story was a B. It was okay. Like it was fine. Like I do find that these are the gangs, and Nightwing's gonna take charge, and we're gonna, okay, it's fine. Like,
yeah,
it was good enough to get me to another. The artwork is enough to make me. I'm not gonna pick up issues.
Okay,
that's really all I have for this one.
All right. Here's why I will not be continuing Nightwing.
Okay.
I agree with everything that you said.
Mm-hmm.
I think the artwork I could potentially pass. Like I could pass if this one thing didn't happen probably 7 times in the book in a rapid fire pace.
Hit me with it. I might not have noticed it.
Okay, Boy Wonder.
Yeah, no, which is disappointing from Dan Waller.
That to me, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just telling you I've read and I've done a lot of prompts through ChatGPT. That felt like a ChatGPT written bit. Like, okay, I get it. You're making fun of him, Boy Wonder. Like, it happened like 6 or 7 times to the point where I was like, I'm good. I'm out. Yeah. And then the story, like you said, it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. I think the problem, if there is a problem that I'm having with it, is that we just saved the city. And I get it. Comics we're doing new things. But man, like, fucking land the plane first before we just immediately take off. Right?
Yeah, I would say that the all-in version of this is all-in on the thing.
Would you say all-in on what?
We're all in on doing the same thing. We are all
in
on doing the same story.
The main,
better believe it. We're all in.
That's the main line. That is the main line's problem. We are all in on doing the same old shit. That's what it is, and that's why I think Absolute for me is more appealing. So yes, I'm out on Nightwing. I didn't enjoy it. Another book that we didn't even put on the list, but did the exact same thing, which was land the plane and then immediately take off before the landing, like before the tires even hit the fucking thing. And this is Marvel, Iron Man. This book sucks ass.
We're not there yet.
No, it's not on the pool. I'm just saying.
Oh, you didn't put it on there?
No. What happened here happened here, but even faster and shittier.
Wait. When we get to Marvel, we should at least talk about it because we've got some Iron Man stalwarts here in the chat.
Well, speaking of Marvel,
hold on. No, go back. We're not done because there are 2 books that I totally thought you were reading.
Completely derailed the show.
You weren't. Yeah. Hold on, buddy.
Hold on there, Bob.
Tom Taylor and Mikhail Janin started their run Detective Comics.
Okay.
And I am very surprised that you didn't read this.
I didn't even know
because you are a Tom Taylor guy. This was good. This was interesting. So one of the things that has always bugged me about Batman, and of course this is prevalent a lot in superhero comics, but it's the most prevalent in Batman, and that's his weird viewpoint of ethics between saving lives and we see in this story, we see a juxtaposition of Batman making decisions and the ramification of those decisions, and his father making decisions back, in the past, and the ramifications of those decisions. And it's very interesting to see Batman not learning from his father's mistakes. Of course, this particular mistake he about, but the juxtaposition between the two are very interesting. And there is this mysterious enemy who Batman encounters at the very beginning of the book. His costuming, it's very clouded or very like in the shadows and stuff. His like needle clawed hands and red eyes remind me of Scarecrow in Tynan's run. So it might be that. But he literally tells him before we go into the past, he literally says, "Don't make the same mistake as your father, Bruce. Don't make the same mistake as Thomas." And essentially, spoiler alert. Here's your weight. Spoiler alert. Big spoiler alert for Batman Mythos.
All right.
Thomas is in the hospital. He's trying to catch them. He gets woken up because there's been a big wreck or something. And there's a pregnant woman and a man. The man is in critical condition. Probably needs to be seen right away. The woman is not in terrible condition. Like she'll be okay with some attention. However, she is pregnant, and the injuries are causing an early, thus making the baby's life and her life also ending.
Okay.
Thomas basically decides, I think he's in the worst condition, and that Hippocratic oath is like right, like that's what it is. And he's like, I think y'all can handle her. And that's what he does, and he saves the man's life. And they are able to save the woman and the baby. And she asks to see him once he's done with surgery. And she's like, "Did you save him?" He's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Fucking great," because he literally beats the shit out of me all the time and like would hit me while I was a horrible human being. Now I have to give up my baby. You have to tell him that the baby was dead, or else he's gonna kill the baby. He's gonna beat the shit out of me. And it's like it's heavy. And someone comes in and basically is like, "We can get you way out of the city and like hide your identities. We'll protect you in the baby." And so they go. Okay. And we cut to some Batman scenes and stuff like that. But we cut to the final page, and they're talking about the patient. He's gotten out of his bed. He's being belligerent. And they're like, "Listen," and Thomas is like, "Listen, like he's like obviously I'd like to keep him observe him for a few more days, but he's free to go if he wants to leave." And so his last words are, "I've done all I can for him. The monster can be someone else's problem. Tell security we can discharge Joe Chill. The man that he saved is the man that kills him."
Wow.
And the entire time we are juxtaposed with a story of Batman who hears gunshots, goes into I think it's like a convenience store, whose door is open, by the way, and Batman comes, like, makes no goddamn sense. And there's a kid standing there holding a gun, 17-year-old kid, just shot someone, and he's going, oh my god, I can't believe I did this. I thought the safety was on. I'm sorry. And Batman punches the fuck out of this kid, like blood flying out of his face.
Oh shit. And
of course the kid is scared and he takes off running. And Batman is like, "Oh, I have to make a decision: chase that guy or help the guy that's gotta be like my papa." And so he helps the guy that's wounded. And he's like, "Oracle, help me! I put a tracking kid, help me." And he's like going through the sewers. Like she's like, "You can't catch up because you're old."
Shit.
And then his thing just stops, and the kid is just laying there slumped. Someone has killed him. And because this is who that guy is, that bad guy in the beginning of the book, it's like this guy who's targeting young criminals and killing them. And if Batman had just not punched the shit out of this kid and scared him, made him run away, he'd be alive now.
Damn.
And then the third line of this whole book is that little girl who grows up and creates this business that Wayne Enterprises finances, and she basically comes up with this all natural serum that makes you a younger. And he's like, "Well, I've always been against magic changes and all that stuff, but this is all healthy and all." I was too slow in the sewer. I could have saved that kid, but maybe I should do it. So there's these three lines that were weaving. I thought it was great. I thought it was very good. And Mikhail Janin on art is like he's fantastic. So
All right. Okay.
I'm super excited for this.
All right. I think I just have DC fatigue. Like I've had to work too hard for certain books, and I'm going, why am I spending money on a book that feels like homework? I want to. I am not entertained. Like I'm not. So.
And then the other book I want to talk about is Superman. Starting, it's still Joshua Williamson, but Dan Moore is now on the art. I'm not going to go into the whole story here, but Dan Moore on art's always going to drive me towards a book. And there were things about Williamson's run early in this run that I enjoyed. So I was like, what the heck? I'm going to do it. And I'm glad I did. There's some really cool doomsday stuff going on, time travel and like intersections of these different characters. Also, Lois Lane has powers, but we don't know how. Obviously, we're going to find out. It addresses that in the book, but the vibes here were really good. It was fantastic. We see even a Lex Luthor like in his apartment, like going through like his memories are lost. I guess that happens. His daughter's like trying to help him like remember what he did, and all. Like, she's showing him these videos of these horrible. Oh my god! I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I was that horrible. I don't know. There was a lot of things going on. So I'm actually going to keep reading this.
How long will Dan Mora be on the book?
Dan Moore's not my only draw. If he was off and there,
but like a shit artist though.
Yeah, if it was the Nightwing artist, I'd probably. Man, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. The story was good. So,
okay,
that's all I got for that.
All right. Well, before we jump over to Marvel, we got Joe coming in with the halftime questions. Our chat, and because of my fucking internet, again, I'm calling Spectrum tomorrow. We're getting the shit fixed. It's pissing me off. But anyway, chat's very laggy, or we're ahead or they're behind. But he comes in with the halftime question. He says, Greg Capullo became enemy number one with his comments on Twitter for calling out his colorist and telling new artists what to expect to make it in the business. Any thoughts? And then later on down, I looked up what John says. Look at what Jock Capullo said. As an artist, I have no issue with that. And then Joe comes in and says, if y'all don't know about Greg Capullo's stuff, is that the colorist in Wolverine Revenge can't finish the series, and Greg put them on blast. Now other creators are mad at Greg for posting that. So Greg, and then Joe comes in again and says, Greg Capullo posted again and said, you need to expect to put in 14 to 16 hours of 7 days a week if you want to make it in this business. How do we feel about that?
So I'm somehow missing.
And
it looks like the post has been removed.
Okay, John says that the artist has also quit, apparently in the middle of the issue.
Well, Greg Capullo is the artist, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
colorist. I'm sorry, not artist.
Colorist. He's quit. So I can't see this.
Can't see the argument.
I can't see any of that. So I'm just going to go off of the vibes I get from what you're saying. I think there's a certain level of professionalism that should always be maintained in any sort of. And I think the intimacy between an artist and a colorist, I think, deserves a modicum of respect, even if you feel like that person is hindering you. Now, if it's hindering you so bad that like it makes you look like a total asshole, then maybe be like, hey, this person is struggling with that. We're having a hard time, but like you're a team, right? Like this is a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
I just don't find that necessary unless the artist, the colorist has and like hateful first, and maybe this was just his. What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as far as I know, I don't see. I will say for the second part that Greg Capullo said that you need to expect to put in 14, 16 hours, 7 days a week to make it in this business. I think is really dumb, even if it's true.
Right.
Because you're just perpetuating this insane ideology about what it takes and actually what publishers are expecting from you.
Right.
And it like you can't like you're the old house, right? And like you're the past just perpetuated the negativity, perpetuated the bad work environment. And instead of saying it's just what it takes, I had to do it, so you better do it too. It's just like people saying, like, well, I paid for my college tuition at $10 an hour. You goddamn better do it at $2,000 an hour. It's Like, it just doesn't make sense. I'm sorry that you had to do that. I'm sorry that Greg Capullo had to put in 16 hours a week, 7 days. That sucks, but that doesn't mean that the people after him should have to do it. So as someone who's not read the tweet in actuality, I would say that from what I've been told, this does not seem like a very good tweet from Greg Capullo.
Yeah, and Joe says, I agree with Greg Capullo, but I don't know if you put it out in public, in my opinion. Can see that Greg is protecting the business because he knows the artist is one complaint from being replaced by AI. That's another take. Grayson comes in. God bless you, but DC has been killing it lately. I love Marvel, but right now they're playing second fiddle comic wise, each to their own. I think you're right, Grayson. Like, if we talk about Marvel Comics, which we're about to next, it was a bum week in my opinion for Marvel Comics. Like, it was flat. It was totally flat. The problem I have with DC is that I know, or at least my perception of the Absolute is badass. And it just feels like they're having their cake and eating it too, with having two separate. Now again, Marvel's doing the same thing, right? But like, at least with their other books, it feels like they take chances. Whereas with all their current continuity line, I'll call it the alpha line of comics from DC, the original story, the timeline, it just feels too safe. There are books that are doing some shit, but when you announce that you're going to do a sequel of Hush in Batman, to me that's not all in. To me, that's we're gonna go appease a certain sector of fans, and just praying and hope and probably don't give two shits that they'll just jump over the Absolute, and that's fine. And then we'll be back over here later on. Like, I don't care. I just don't. And like, granted, we got Dan Waters over here doing Nightwing. And for all intents and purposes, we are doing something new. We've got the gangs on the run and Nightwing trying to save them. That's cool. Our work's not really doing it for me. And the writing kind of felt sloppy to the point where I'm like, unfortunately, like for me personally, I am being a little bit more apprehensive with my dollars and saying, okay,
Joe said something about that earlier.
You've got all of this content. I'm going to pick and choose what I think is most appealing to me personally. Yeah. And I think that's every comic book reader's choice. But to me, like, I guess where I'm getting at is I want to be involved with those books, but when you tell me I have to do homework, I'm out.
I'm not always out on that because I like
right.
But I will say that the history with Hush and stuff, and Hush, just reading Hush to get caught up on that, it's like 18 issues or something. Like, it went on for like a year and a half. So like, you would have to do some big boy reading, and that's probably too much.
And then there's like mini sequels like popping. I remember like when we were in the middle of Death Metal, there was something going on with Hush where like Tinian took a break, it was in Detective Comics. There was a Hush. There was some kind of Hush.
That was in Batman and Robin, and it was Shush.
Right.
Shush.
No, not Shush. No, I remember that. But there was something when Ron was at the old shop.
Okay.
Old shop's second move. So not in the big space, but when they moved in the very other side. Right. There was something that happened, and it was like, oh, if you have read Hush, you need to go read Hush because this is, So, and I was like, I don't know what Hush is. I'm not reading that, and now we're doing it again.
Well, I will just say and we can just lay it to rest, but Hush is, to me, like a very foundational Batman story, especially for a newer reader. You don't need to know. And it's almost like a who's who of his villains and backstories. And like, it, even though it was just in the middle of a run, like it's its own contained thing. And it's actually very, very good. And it helps new readers learn.
Sure. Learn.
Yeah, learn.
Learn.
What? Someone said something earlier that I wanted to get.
Okay.
Oh, Trail said still waiting for Far Sector. Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah, I think everybody is.
Oh my god.
Not to mention, it encourages a toxic workplace and makes people more likely to put up the thing that shouldn't unionize comics. Yeah. Little says, in my opinion, both Superman and Action Comics is the only title DC that is good because they deliver something simple, nice superhero stories with great interactions with the super family. I mean, I love the super family.
Get that.
I would definitely want more of that. Okay, let's go on over to hit that like button. You're right, Joe. All right, Avengers. McKay. Big setup. If we're just being real quick with it, is big setup, and we know Doom's about to run some shit. Like, he's about to run Marvel. Like, he is the new CEO. If you're not in line, you're fired. Like, that's just what it is. That's what it's going to be. And I think that's what this issue was. It was just him flexing his muscles, and I think what I liked about it was Vision very easily, in a very simple way of explaining why Doom did what he did in this issue, which he was like, what can I get away with? Okay, cool. That's not what they're doing. Now I'm going to do it. Like, that's exactly what he did. And so I didn't have a problem with the issue. It was a little basic, but it got the job done, which is, hey, everybody at Marvel, Doom's about to wreck your book. Like, that's
yeah,
kind of where we're going.
Yeah, and I thought it was good. I mean, because we also got a little secondary, a little breadcrumb for the future with Black Panther.
Yeah,
Realm or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm a Doom guy, so seeing Doom, I'm gonna enjoy no matter what, and literally just bringing them to the other side of the world, like a think experiment, because he can't do it in his own head. He needs like to play it off people.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so Doom. So
it was fun. It was a fun issue.
Didn't do anything crazy, but it was still
fun. Just did its thing. Dazzler. I don't know if you read this or read issue 1 or 2. It's just a silly goose time. It's fun. It's a classic. This is a classic mutant story. This is, I mean, if you're just looking for bare bones X-Men and what the original concept of X-Men are and their oppression and all that jazz, then I think this is the book for you. I'm having fun with it. I'm not bending over backwards for it. If they don't have it, then I'm not picking it up. But like, I liked it, and I can definitely see the parallels of the writer, pulling on what's currently going on in mainstream media with Taylor Swift. And like, if she's not Dazzler in the MCU, then what are we doing here, folks?
I don't know.
I liked it. It's fun. I think it's fun. It's a silly goose time. It's a classic. Like, if there's anything that you'd say about it, it's a classic story. So that's all I got to say about that. Joe coming in says, AI artwork is becoming hard to recognize. Hard that someone took some artwork to Todd McFarlane and had him pick one of his favorite covers, and he didn't know that he chose AI over his fave. Damn, that's crazy.
It is crazy.
All right, next up, we have The Incredible Hulk, issue number 18. I'm sure you loved it. I'm sure you're all about it. I think after this arc, I'm done. I just don't. There are parts of it that I like, which is obviously this continuation of the feud between Banner and Hulk and the personality. Mm-hmm. But I guess for me, like, I have to be as critical with Marvel as I am with DC. And it just doesn't feel like we're doing anything new. The girl's story is obviously new, right? And it's very clear that she's going to become some kind of monster or be empowered by some kind of spirit and become some Hulk ally or what. It's very clear that that's what's going on. And I have nothing against Philip Kennedy Johnson, but like, to me, this run is exactly like Ewing's Immortal Thor. There are some ups, and then there's downs, and then there's some ups, and there's some downs. And like, I guess I'm becoming less of a Hulk fan, or I'm realizing that I'm not as much of a Hulk fan as I thought I was. And I think that's also because Nick Klein is on again, off again with this book, and it's very evident, even though I don't know who the other artist is, or at least not by looking at the cover. Like,
it's the only other person that's been on art, Earls.
I don't like that. I really don't. Like, I get that the medium, like, it was a play on like who we were following, but god damn, it was distracting. Like, just give me Nick Klein. Like, I like Nick Klein. I think he does great on the book, and I just kept on getting taken out with this issue. So like, I might even say I might be done completely after this issue. Like, I might. I think
that's dramatic.
No, it's not. Like, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy reading it. Like, I liked the banter between Hulk and Banner, but how many times have we done that?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and that, again, that's kind of a foundation of the character. I get it. But like, it's to the point where it's not entertaining to read. And I know I'm being a negative Nancy, but like, I've been kind of out on this run already. And I know Joe's about to slaughter me. He's going to be like, keep your mouth shut. And I know you're going to continue to read it, but I think with new books coming out and me wanting to kind of explore other Marvel and DC titles, I think I might be done with Hulk. I'm just saying. Because I'm not following what's going on. Like this whole Mother of Monsters thing, like I feel like it's very convoluted.
It is. It is very convoluted. I am hoping that once we get to the point that Philip Kennedy Johnson is hoping we'll all get it. I'm hoping that once we get to that point, we will get it. But so far, it has been it's been like grasping at straws and trying to figure out this overall backstory that he's creating. The series has taken a dive since the girl died. It's like she was really the driving factor of the force. I have never been a big Hulk fan personally.
Right.
Obviously, I'm here because of Philip Kennedy Johnson. And I did make a realization in this. I'm only still here because of
Philip Kennedy Johnson. Yeah.
I will not drop it because it's Philip Kennedy Johnson, and I'm just going to gets there. But I doubt the next issue is going to help you at all because the 800th $7.99 anniversary of guest stories. There's the main story, then the 3 backup stories, and so I don't know. I still have a little bit of faith that it's going to turn around. I'll keep buying it, but I would not blame you for dropping it.
I'm starting to turn into you and being like, man, independents are just so much more fun.
Listen,
I never thought in a million years we'd be that channel that we're like, you know what, do I really have to read Marvel? Like, I don't like that because I genuinely like to read Marvel comics, and I kind of genuinely like to read DC comics sometimes, but like, it just feels stagnant at the moment. Joe coming in, drop Dazzler. The X books need to tell me it's important. I had to drop Dazzlers due to my budget, and I did like the first issue. No, I get that, John. Joe, come on, Jim. You've been down on Hulk when it outlives She-Hulk. I am still okay. You're right. I'm bitter. I'm fucking bitter that there is no She-Hulk book, and I'm pissed. And just bring it back. Okay.
Listen, I would totally sacrifice this entire run for the issues.
Jesus, I agree. And
This
John
book
coming
too,
in,
by the way.
John coming in with a dinger. She-Hulk is better though. Yeah, I kind of agree.
Yeah.
X-Men issue number 6. Okay. Storyline is intriguing. It's getting a little better, but man, I can't. The artwork is not. It's just not doing it for me. It's not even Stegman. It's somebody else that's mimicking Stegman style, and I don't like it. I just don't. And every time this book comes out, there's an intriguing storyline, but the artwork takes me further and further to the point where I'm like, I might drop it.
Yeah,
I might drop it. Man, I'm sorry. Like and Joe, I apologize. I'm sorry about Hulk. I know I touched a nerve. I'm really sorry, but you know, I am interested to see this whole forcing a mutation storyline pull through. We're finally getting some answers about this like massive, like pulled together sentinel over the town in Alaska. Like we're going to actually find out what caused it in the next issue. So that's intriguing, but man, the artwork is killing it for me. I have to stay consistent in that criticism. It's just not good. To me, it is not up to par with what an X-Men book is. And I'm sorry, I'm using Pepe Larraz and RB Silva as the fucking pedestal to what an X-Men book artwork should be. I mean, and they're non-existent. They basically don't work at Marvel anymore. Like they just don't do that. Like, I'm sure they're too expensive. Or no, rather, they're just right. Their price is perfect, and Marvel doesn't want to pay it.
Maybe, who knows?
That's all I got to say.
Yeah, there's not a lot I would have dropped it already, but it's Jed McKay and he deserves
Right.
a lot of extra.
Right.
So I will ride this out at least through the Raid of Grey Malkin
Right.
crossover. I'll ride it at least through that.
Well, we know we're getting an Avengers.
Simone's
we're
doing
getting-
Uncanny's better. So.
Yeah, and we're getting an Avengers versus X-Men again. Who knows? what
Yeah,
that'll
but that's
be.
just one issue. There's no tie-ins
not?
or covers.
Okay.
It's just one Avenger.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a whole thing. Okay, never mind
Yep.
then. Never mind.
But yeah, I mean, in this book in particularly, there's not a lot of characters that are intriguing to me.
Yeah.
Honestly, if we could take Ileana and Juggernaut, put that same dynamic in Uncanny or some other book,
Right.
this would be a totally useless book. Like,
I agree.
I mean, it's already useless when you have Cyclops as a leader. Like, get that. I think we can all agree on it. But there's not a lot of extras here for.
well, and it's like, well,
well,
no, and you can see that McKay is doing this whole like mystery thing because like, oh, why is Magneto in the chair? Like, we haven't got any of that, but like, we're not even like pretending. Like, he's hoping that we're asking that question, and I'm not, even though I should be.
Yeah.
Joe says Civil War in the Fat Camp. Yep, Civil War. Spirited discussion. There you go, John. Perfect.
That's right.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week's review of comics from October 23rd. Little comes in. Incredible Hulk by Philip Kennedy Johnson is excellent. For me, it's a spiritual successor to Immortal Hulk with horror vibe mixed with the monster of the week is good to me, and the whole lore with the horror of the mother is intriguing. I agree. I just feel like it's kind of
keep pumping me up to get it, because I read the book sometimes. I'm like, man,
what is
and
it
then
doing?
Sometimes I read it and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it has ups and downs. Anyways, guys, back to the conclusion. Just to let you guys know, again, just to reiterate, there will be no live show this coming Sunday. There will be a pre-recorded show where me and Nate will talk about those books, and there'll be a premiere so you guys can chat on it while it's going on, because I am taking a little bit of a vacation. But there will be a new comic book activity that comes out Tuesday. Keep your eyes peeled for what the hell is going on? Dude, my internet is just